Hello, everybody. Welcome to Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers Monday night. Tonight we have the Timmerman family here, Terry, Kyle, and Kurt. John's not with us tonight. I don't know if you know what he does for a living. He is he's a county director, for the highway department and stuff. And we have some dignitaries coming to town this weekend, so he is in charge of closing off streets. Honest to God, the guy works with Secret Service a little bit, and they tell him what to do. So I don't know if he listens, but that's what he says. It's a good story, right? So what do you guys think?
Yeah, they're keeping him busy up there in Madison. He's the Dane County Highway Department Grand Poobah up there, and that's where all them politicians are coming into to spread the word, as they say.
Yep. And I happened to be I was in Madison last week when I think it was Obama was in town, and I noticed all the highway trucks were blocking streets where they had to be closed and all that. So I think that's probably must be what he does. So yeah, good for him.
He probably tells all the highway department guys where to go sit in their trucks. He probably just tells them to go to their usual spot.
Right. Yeah. Not a Quick Trip eating donuts.
Yeah. Right. Who's our sponsors, Greg?
Hey, sponsored tonight by Hillsboro Equipment. Front Street Toys, Trip Downing, and Ed Casper Ag Services. Thank you guys for all your sponsorship and help getting all this together and helping us with our camera equipment and everything like that. So thanks, on. And then we've got Terry on here. What do you guys think? Terry, how's the fall been treating you?
Oh, the weather's been great. As everybody knows, every day is a nice day. So you get a lot of work
81 degrees tomorrow. I'm not really ready for that, but that's what they say it's going to be.
Right.
Yeah, pretty nice run of weather, that's for sure. Yeah, we're lucky to have the Timmermans on here tonight. Terry and his boys, Kyle and Kurt. Which one's Kyle? Which one's Kurt? Raise your hands, guys.
Kurt, Kyle,
Kurt and Kyle. And I know they're both at least a half a foot taller than I am, because when they come up to accept their championships at the banquet, they flank me one on each side, and I'm looking up at both of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So how many times have you been at the front of the room accepting that championship?
I think this is kind of nice third, but Dad accepted about 3 also. So it'll be 6 total.
That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah,
I think six
total championships. That's getting her done. Now I know Terry from way back, and we were talking about this before you came on, Greg. And I don't think a lot of people know the Timberman's history in the sport of pulling is as deep as it goes back. They started out with mini rods in a little club over by Dickeyville, Wisconsin, back in the 70s, and go ahead, Terry. Tell that story you started to tell me earlier, because I find it pretty intriguing.
It was 1973, and the JCs put a garden tractor pull on. And so I took Dad's Massey Ferguson 12-horse hydrostat garden tractor up there and got a 3rd place. And a neighbor of mine had put an old Wisconsin engine on a frame he made and put some tires on it, and he made a pull with that, and that's where the first mini rod actually got started. And the following year there was probably 5 or 6 different people built mini rods, and our first one was a V6 Buick with manure spreader tires on it and chain driven, and that's how we started.
Yeah.
How'd you do with that one?
Pardon me?
How'd you do with that one?
Well, we didn't do too bad. We pulled with our little club or whatever, and then we went down to Wyoming, Iowa to a pull, and there was about 5 or 6 of us in our group went down, and we thought we were pretty good. Well, we got down there, and we found out we weren't so good. So got our tails whipped pretty bad down there. So then what happens then is you got to start getting better and improving. So like they say, you get out and pull against other people, it makes you a better puller too.
Yeah. Now, Terry, you got a couple of brothers that were involved with you pulling back then, and are still to this day. Wayne is your brother, and also Dale.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Wayne and Dale had a mini rod together back in the day, and myself and a good friend of mine, John Keepers, we had one together, and
Yep.
and we pulled mini rods until probably, I think it was '87, and we bought a 2-wheel drive chassis from Steve Reynolds from Taylorville, Illinois.
Yeah.
And it was an El Camino. It was one of the first 2-wheel drives ever built. And we bought that, and we ran that until '91. And then I got in the business and family, started a family, and so I kind of quit pulling for about 18 years before I got back into it again.
So you were out.
What business?
Out for 18 years. Was Wayne and Dale, were they out of it for 18 years also?
Dale was. Wayne was only out about 2 years, and he got
Okay.
back in with Fantasy and Tri-State, pulling a 2-wheel
Okay.
drive.
Okay, yeah. Now you kind of fast forwarded through your mini rod years, but I remember them. You guys in your little club, you went up. You guys got as far as blown small blocks in there, and then I remember you guys showed up at a pull with a couple new tractors with some aluminum big blocks in them that you ran for a while.
Yeah, we had a lot of success with them. They seemed like we just got ahead of everybody else a little bit, one step or so, and we'd go to Illinois and pull a lot down there, and we did real well down there. So it was a good run.
Yeah, and you guys back in the day, back then, I remember there wasn't there was a few vendors for building mini rod parts, but not a lot. You guys even designed and built your own gearbox for a mini rod that was all homemade.
Yeah. Actually, Wayne and Dale are the two that engineered and made that, and they made that. The transmission, it was a single speed, forward and reverse, and it had quick change gears in. You could just pull the back cover off and change the gear ratio in them. And they sold, I don't know how many of them they sold, maybe six of them or so.
Yeah, there's still one floating around over in Wisconsin here, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
If you can believe that. Yeah, I thought that was pretty ingenious back in the day. And I followed your guys' exploits in the mini rods quite a bit. I know you sold one to Mike Swing at one point. I think the other one went to Rob Lanzini, did it?
Yeah. The Mac, Bulldog Mac, or whatever he was from around Chicago.
Yeah, Mac Attack, I think he went by. Yep. And then you guys transitioned to 2-wheel drives, as you were alluring to. That's when the 2-wheel drive class came out. That almost stifled mini rod pulling for a number of years. And I think that's when you guys made the jump, because I think you guys just like pulling. You weren't getting enough mini rod action anymore. Am I kind of right on that?
Yeah, it was kind of dying, or whatever the mini rods were, and the 2-wheel drives was this new class, and it seemed like it was catching on pretty good. So we sold the minis and bought this 2-wheeler chassis, and then
And that was the Showdown El Camino that you ran for a number of years.
Yep. And we had a Rick Kipley built Aries motor in that. So
Yep. And I remember being at the Indiana State Fair, I do believe. It had to be 80 something, I suppose. And you guys put a rod out through it down there, if I remember right.
Oh yeah, that was a bad deal down there. A buddy of mine from Dubuque went with me. It was just him and I, and he was on a hell of a nice pass, and all of a sudden I seen something come out of the exhaust pipe, and it dropped the valve, and it made a mess out of everything. It was a long ride home.
Yeah, so I remember. I come up to you down in the pits afterwards, and I asked you what happened. I says, "You broke," and you goes, "Oh, bad."
Yeah.
So you said Rick Kipley built your first motor. He built my first motor too.
Okay.
And you know what he does right now?
Not for sure.
He's working building snowmobile motors, but he built an airplane motor they have a competition for the shortest takeoff for an airplane.
Really?
And he built a motor that did it in 5 feet.
Whoa.
So he's a good friend of mine. He still lives around here, so
Okay.
don't talk too much about. But it's he was pretty sharp with stuff, I thought, right?
Oh yeah, he was. Yes, he was. And yeah, he kind of ventured off in some stock car racing or midget racing or something, wasn't he? Building.
Yep.
those?
Well, when Matt Kenseth won his first restrictor plate motor, that was Rick's motor in there.
Okay.
Yep, and then he went that route for a while, and then he went to Summit. He built Summit's drag motors, and then he went down and taught NASCAR's college or something down in North Carolina. Now he's back here building them. He's over helping guys with snowmobile motors in Arlington. I forget the guy's name. Craig something builds a RDCAM motors over here. Yep.
Yep.
So he's still around.
He's
Still got his fingers
a
on the
long time.
Yep. I don't think he'll ever give that up. So that's one of the legends that people don't talk about in pulling, I think, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he built a lot of motors back in the day for truck and tractor pullers.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he was one of the first ones to build a profab style transmission,
Yeah.
and he didn't put a patent on it.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember that, and his gearboxes are still floating around out there. I see him come up for sale once in a while here and there. Oh yeah,
you can check him out, can't you?
he was one of the early pioneers of the Aries motor, which eventually became the MBR style engine after it went through Fontana and now MBR. But yeah, he put all the Aries motors on Walsh's tractors and back in the day, and also Bud Jaskey's tractors.
Mhm.
yep, LD Nation had the same thing. Yep, a lot of them guys. Yep.
Yep, they were some powerhouses, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terry, so you said you got out of pulling for 18 years or whatever. What year did you step aside? Was it after the Showdown El Camino truck?
Yeah, we had the Showdown for about 3 years, and I don't know. Yeah, Wayne got into business, and everybody was getting busy, and we just thought it was time to step aside for a while. So we sold it to Lance Fleming from Lamont.
Oh, okay.
And Lance ran it for a few years, but and then Wayne only stayed out for 2 or 3 years, but I think it was in 2004 I got back in it again. We were just gonna pull a half a dozen times with Tri-State or Fantasy. They had limitations on a little blower motor, and it was a nice little class, so we thought we'd do that. Well, yeah, that 5 or 6 pulls a year went to 15 or 18, and
Right.
we built the hauler, and then we was like, well, maybe it's time to move up again. So then we
So
pulled that.
how long did you run with the Fantasy guys then? Because that was kind of a nice little circuit. It kept you close to home.
Yeah. I think it was about 4 years.
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That was going to be so lucrative when we first started out. We started out on an enclosed or just an open trailer. Told Mom, we're only going to go 4 or 5 times a year. Don't worry about it. It ain't going to be that.
And she bought that for a while, huh?
Yeah.
I hear that story a lot. I told Mom,
Yeah.
or I told my wife.
So when you left Fantasy, you went right back into big time pulling.
Yeah. We sold that whole truck because that truck didn't have a heavy enough rear end in. And so then I bought an Engler chassis from Jordan Nelson.
Okay.
And I bought the body from Stan Shelton.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
And
It was, if I remember right, when you bought that body, it had a windshield about 4 inches on it, and you had to, wanted to raise it up a little bit.
Most people, cut them down. We put 6 inches into the roof.
Yeah.
We had it so low to get into the hauler and whatnot, or his
Stacker
trailer. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool, but it was you couldn't.
It was good. It was cool, but non-functional.
Yes.
You'd had to have a sunroof so you could stick your head out to see where you're
Well, you should have.
So your brother Wayne, he went he stepped back in the big time pulling at the same time you did then?
Yes, yeah. His chassis and everything rear end was good, so he just went with a bigger engine and transmission. We had to put a different transmission in too.
Okay. Okay, so he stayed with the same truck then. Is he still running that same truck?
Well, the same body.
Yeah.
About I don't know how many years ago that was. He bought a modern chassis.
Okay.
Probably 8.
Yeah,
8. And then we bought a modern chassis about
the following year.
2 years later maybe. So yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And you guys went right back to the Aries engine program. At that time, was it Fontana or was it MBR by then?
It was MBR. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob Miner out California. He was out there then. So.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And then your other brother Dale, he stayed out of pulling for a bit longer than you guys did. And he got back into mini rod pulling with his son Chad.
Right. Yep. And yeah, he did that with WTPA and that for half a dozen years probably.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
They ran it for about 4 years or something, 4 or 5, and then they sold it. Was he out of it for a full year or no?
Yeah, a year or two. And then we kind of coaxed him into maybe getting a 2-wheeler. So so he did that.
And he revived the old Showdown name and paint scheme on it.
Yeah, he bought a truck, a chassis, and a body from down in Nelson, down in Texas.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, he got the paint scheme of the old Showdown on it, and it looked like that one. And he ran that for probably 3-4 years.
Yeah.
But his heart's in mini rods, so they sold the 2-wheeler and they bought their old mini rod back, and they were back running that last year. So
yeah, I was talking to them guys up in Hillsboro. Yeah, they said Chad wanted to get back into mini rod. He liked that a little better.
Yep.
Young guys, they like a lot more excitement. I'm surprised your boys don't want to go mini rod pulling.
Somebody
Well,
wants
they have to cut tires that much.
That is true. You get good at that. Hey, we got a guy, Brent Gleck wants to know, did your Ford body that you ran before, did that go down into Illinois?
Yeah.
Dale Nelson.
Dale Nelson. I actually sold the body to Bob Barbie,
Okay.
and Bob Barbie put that body on a chassis of his, and then he sold that to Dale Nelson in Illinois.
And Dale Nelson's the father of all the Nelson boys down in Altamont down there, the Midnight Motorsports operation, correct?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, because I see that truck run down when we go pull our mini rods down in Illinois. I see it down there. I think he calls it something hooked nowadays, Forever Hooked or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, good deal. So then that brings us up to the present time. With your what you're running now, and you the Badger State tractor pullers brought the 2-wheel drive class on. How long ago did we bring the 2-wheelers on, Greg?
Well, it's got to have been a dozen years ago, right, Terry? At least.
We're sportsman's class for
I think
Like
it
2015.
was it 09?
That it might have been. It's been a while. Maybe 15 years then, huh?
07. I think it was 07 or 08.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, I guess we moved up before Badger State because you guys kind of contacted Walsh's about
Dan Walsh is the first contact I made
Yeah.
when we started this. He's the one we talked to him and he said, "Hey, we'd like to pull local," he said, and come a little closer and stay closer to home. And we made some work, and it seems to be working, right?
Yeah.
we
Dan,
enjoy the heck out of it.
Dan contacted us and wanted to know if we'd be interested in pulling with them. So we said, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, because you guys were running at that time. You guys were running around doing NTPA stuff and WTPA stuff. I think you're probably kind of just running anywhere you wanted to without traveling 5 states away.
That's the nice part about the 2-wheel drive. You can, you can go about anywheres, and the rules are all the same or whatever. So, so we can, we can. Our allegiance is with Badger State, but then we pull NTPA, we pull Outlaws, we pull ITPA,
And you do real well wherever you pull. I think the Monticello pull. I think there were some guys from Iowa that pulled with us. They usually don't pull this, and you guys you did well there too, if I remember right. Right?
Yeah, I think we won that one. Yep.
Yeah, I think you did too. I didn't want to say it for sure, but I thought you did.
Yeah.
That was a great track.
Yeah, you guys had a pretty stellar year. Backing up just a smidgen again, you touched on it earlier. 6 championships you've got with the Badger State tractor pullers now, Terry, and boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. That's pretty good. And your support of the Badger State tractor pullers is deeply appreciated. Trust me on that. You guys bring high quality stuff to the polls, and it's ready to pull. And I like talking to you a lot too. I learned a lot from you also. When did you guys, Kurt and Cobb, when did you guys start driving the truck?
We started back in fantasy when we were 16. I would drive Wayne's, Kyle would drive Dad's, because they'd run twice in a night.
Oh,
So,
sure. Yep.
Dad and Wayne would run once, and then we'd run once.
Oh, so you guys been pulling for quite a while then.
Well, then once we stepped up to this level, Dad had his and Wayne had his, and the boys just sat in the weeds. Let them run their stuff.
You guys were all official crew members then for a while.
Yep, back to shine.
Yeah.
Well, when did dear old Dad let you start jumping in the seat of the big one?
19.
That was 19 when we won that championship that year.
And did you both start driving it the same year?
Yep, we just flip flop each time.
Okay, all right.
So
Terry, have you been back in the seat much since the kids booted you out?
Not too much. I mean, I don't know. We went to about 23 polls this year, and I think I drove it twice. Yep.
You still like it?
Oh yeah, I do. But I enjoy watching them, and
Sure.
I don't know. It just seems like it maybe works better. That their reaction time is definitely quicker than Dad's, so it's probably a good thing. They do a great job, so I just soon sit back and let them go.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. And to win championships like that with 2 different drivers, that takes a little bit in itself, because I don't imagine you guys drive the same, or do you guys think your styles are pretty similar?
We've been trained for a long time on it, I guess.
Probably trying to drive as similar as possible, and then I guess setting the truck up is the main thing. Dad does a great job with that, and we kind of discuss it as a team, and it just works well.
Yeah. Who spots the sled then, since you're both driving all the time?
The owner. The track reader and the owner, he does a great job at that.
Did he get to pick the gear too?
For the most part, that's a collective decision, but for the most part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been corrected a couple of times, so.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
how many speed gearbox do you guys run?
I don't know what that buzzing is.
Nothing here.
No,
Oh, I don't know what you said, Stacy.
Yeah. Oh, how many speed gearbox do you guys run?
it's
3.
Yeah, 3.
3 speeds. So you got 3 chances to pick the wrong one. Do you use all 3 of them, or you got one that you pretty much like the best?
We've tried all 3.
Yep,
Yeah.
and on the track. Yep.
Depending on which sled you pull, sometimes the sled makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
Which sled you're on and what the track looks like. That's
Yep.
that.
What track looks like, maybe how far you're going to run out there,
Yep.
Speaking of tracks, we got Brent Gleck tuning in back in again here. He wants to know, what was your favorite track this year?
Go ahead, Kyle.
Well, this year I would have to lean towards Hillsboro, even though it's more of a Champions Tour, just because we did really well there. But as far as track goes, I know like Highland usually has a really good track itself. That's probably right up in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Hillsboro, you guys won both rounds up there, did you not?
Yeah, we got pretty lucky up there.
Yeah. Did both of you guys drive to a win, or one guy drive both nights?
No, that time Kurt wasn't able to be there, so I had to drive both nights. So
Okay, so now you can say you're the better driver then.
Got the buckle to prove it, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that
Do you
that had to
ever
be-
do you ever talk about applying to Louisville? Do you guys ever do that or not?
Well, it's funny you should say that. We did apply this year. We've never pulled there before, never applied for. I was there one time. That was back in 1976. So
Yep.
that was the last time I was ever in Louisville. The boys have been there.
Back in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
couple times. Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, we did apply this year, and we thought, well, we'll see what happens.
Boy, you'd certainly think you got the credentials to meet their criteria, I would think, after this year. I mean, winning the Badger State Championship and taking home the buckle from Hillsboro. I mean, that's got to be. I got to believe that doubling up at Hillsboro has got to be the high water mark of your career. Am I close to right on that with all them Champions Tour trucks there?
Yeah, it definitely was a very cool experience, that's for sure. And to be able to do it, and and then even the run that we had in Hillsboro the second night, it was nerve wracking a little bit, and I wasn't sure how well it went, and I knew I was getting close to an out of bounds line, and it was like, yeah.
Yeah.
When I pulled out
there was like
up there, actually, I didn't know how I did. And usually, Dad or Kurt's there with the Jeep. And this time, up in Hillsboro, they got the tow tractor. So I shut it off, and the guy hooks me up. And I was like, well, I have no idea where I'm at. And he pulls me back to the hauler, and I lift the body up. And Dad happened to be back there, and he held his finger up that we took the lead anyways. And I didn't believe it at all, to be honest. It was pretty cool feeling.
good.
Yeah,
Good.
that's some tough stuff that runs that Champions Tour. And they run them. I don't want to say they run them on kill, but let's say they put a pretty good tune up on them all the time.
Yep. Especially in Hillsboro, I think they do. Because
Yeah.
that's usually the PPL pull of the year. I mean, probably 7 out of the last 10 years, that's been the PPL pull of the year. To win that one, that's a big deal, I think. Yep, and there's 30.
It's also the points championship for the two-wheelers. Like Jason won the points championship there this year, right? Like that was the deciding factor for them. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Jason Sullivan with the corn burner. He come with you guys out of fantasy, did he not?
Yeah, he did. Yep.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yep.
And he was the PPL points champion.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big deal. Another close guy, right?
Yeah. Yep. From Edgewood, Iowa.
but Woody was right behind us too, so there wasn't much. He's right there.
Yeah.
Yep. And he has a miter motor too, right?
No, he's got a Chrysler Hemi or whatever you call him. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I thought, maybe was it Tim and Willie's? I thought one time they had a miter motor too. I'm not sure. Maybe.
No. The only minor motors that are Wayne and I, and Jason Sullivan's got one, and Fleming's got them. But yeah, Deppy's and Woody's, yeah, they're not minors.
Nate
Okay.
Fowles.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got the Chrysler style. I know. Tim said he's got the latest, greatest also with Noonan heads and everything on there. I guess that's cutting edge as far as the Chrysler style Hemi stuff. I think they're all running either Brad Anderson or Alan Johnson blocks. I'm not sure on that either. Not sure there's a whole lot of difference, is there?
Yeah, I like the minor motors. They're easy to work on. You can pull a head off without pulling the intake or the blower or anything off. 20 minutes, I can have a head off of that motor.
Yeah,
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard guys say that, but I heard guys say that before, that they're very user friendly.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we don't have to work on them too much either. Anything can happen at any time, of course, but
Yeah.
it's been pretty dependable.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the Nelsons down at the Illinois State Fair right after Hillsboro, and they said that at that time they had hurt 3 motors last year, and they attribute it to the parts that they're getting just don't seem to be as good as what they were getting before COVID. So we're kind of at the mercy of our vendors sometimes also, and that's I hope that's not going to stay true to form,
Right.
Yeah. I know our crankshafts have doubled in price since then too. I don't know what your guys have done, but it's crazy what's happened since then and why. I don't know. And the quality's probably
Yeah. You used to be able to buy rods for $800. Now they're $1,400,
Yeah.
You guys run a full season without tearing her down, or do you do a mid-season, slide bearings in it or anything?
About every 10 runs, we'll pull the pan and check the bearings. This year, same bearings all year long. Knock on wood, I don't think we had
We
any
didn't
issues.
change any.
Yep. We had 23 runs on it this year. So, yeah,
That's pretty good, right?
it is. Yeah.
That's
They
really good.
take it too. They should take it. But,
Yeah.
You always think it should, but sometimes it don't.
well, that's it. Yeah. Anything crazy can happen anytime.
Yeah.
Then we
What-
try
what-
not to turn it too hard. I mean, make it
What
loud.
kind of supercharger are you running on that thing?
What supercharger?
Yeah, what kind of blower are you running?
It's a hammer.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a hammer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's out of North Carolina.
Yep. And he makes the injector, but he does the blower too
Yeah.
by a package.
Yeah, he's from Australia. Troy Critchie's his name, and he's a different guy to talk to with his accent. It's kind of hard to understand sometimes. You got to make sure all the radios are off. I can understand what he's saying. So
Oh, sure. That's funny. Yeah. How long have you been running that particular setup?
3 years, 4 years,
Since 20.
20. Yep,
Okay.
it's been pretty good to us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd say so. Back-to-back point championships would attest to that. That's for sure.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you're pulling against Scott and Tim and everybody else
Beaner.
in the class.
Wiener, yeah.
Beaner, them guys they all do well when you go to Hillsborough against everybody. 30 trucks.
We've been beat by them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Woody got a third in Hillsborough this year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. So guys are running it. Our club, just like all the other classes, can compete anywhere. That's what you like to see, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. All the Badger State classes are very good running equipment, in all the classes. So, it's a heck of a good show.
It is. And, and I think that the fans appreciate that when they do say to you, hey, your guys was up there, your guys was here, your Badger State guys did well there. And I like hearing that.
Yeah.
I do it, and no matter what class you're in, whatever it is, it's fun.
Yeah. And Terry said that earlier in the show here. Good competition makes you better.
It does. It does. If you get beat by the guy all the time and you got to go home and do something, right?
That's right.
If somebody's beating you got to go home and tune it up, change something.
Well, and the thing is, it's natural for, if you run with the same outfit all the time, you build and tune enough to be competitive with that group. And, but then if you venture out, you find out, oh, you know what, we got to step it up a little bit if we're going to venture out. But the Badger State guys run so hard against each other that when they venture out to go someplace else, it's like, oh, hey, check this out. These guys are tough. Yeah. I know Dirk down at Louisville, he was working the starting line down there, and he heard somebody comment that the Badger State pullers, they're too tough for just being a state organization.
Yeah. You hear that a lot. Yep. It's fun. And I want to, and it's good friendly competition too. Everybody seems to get along, right? You don't have a lot. We talk stuff out. If there's a problem, Terry and I have talked a couple times. Hey, we got to change this. We got to fix something here and do something different. We always try to make it work. That's my goal, always, to make it work for everybody. And it has to be. And sometimes some guys don't like to hear the answer, but I've got the promoter here, I've got the puller here, and I've got this guy here. We've got to make it all work. It is. It's very hard.
Yeah, you got to do the best for the show.
It is. It's tough, but it's fun. I don't mind doing it. I like it anymore. It gets easier every year because everybody's getting used to. You get a new guy in once in a while that says, "Yeah, we got to change this." No, you don't. We're fine. Just pay a little. Just be a little relaxed, and we'll get through this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Terry,
Yep.
did you guys go to the Nichols tires or the CPEC tires when they came out with the new recast or remolded? They're bigger tires. Am I right on that?
Yeah. We went with the Mayhills last year when they, came out with the new tire, and we put our name in for Nichols. And last February, Bob called and said, he had a set of tires for us if we wanted them. So I took them, thinking, you never know unless you try.
Right.
So
Right.
we ran them. We ran them in
Macville,
Macville.
or not Warren,
Baraboo for the charity pull, and we ran them one time in Toma the first night, and we took them off, and we went back to the Mayhills, and we just had better luck with the Mayhills.
Sure. That's just like anything. You wouldn't believe something. They same size and everything, but they just work so much differently. Did you guys have to change a lot of stuff on the truck to make them fit? I heard there was some guys are having problems with clearance on the frames and stuff and bodies on them because they were so much larger.
We had to cut a little bit out.
Had to cut a little bit out of the body, but that was all. No, there was no big issues with them.
Okay.
Yeah, they just, some trucks work better with certain tires, and we had good success with the Mayhills the year before. So it's kind of like, really, why did we change? We always try.
Yeah, at that point you're getting into the heat of the season, and the Nichols are still a big question mark. And at that point, you guys are like, do we want to spend a whole season learning these Nichols, or do we want to get going pulling and go with what we know at that point?
Yeah, and it's tough too because like in Baraboo, it made one heck of a pass too. So it's like, well, it did good, but do you trust it, or did it seem like it repeated, or do you want to keep trying it, or how long do you want to keep trying it? And then I think it was Monticello or something like that when we threw them back on, and it just seemed like it hooked up better. You could drive it a little bit better, or I felt like I could drive it better. So,
yeah.
Usually,
funny.
If you need more front end weight, that means they're working, right?
Well, when you got something you knew that used to work, and you're trying something new that ain't working, it's hard to not just go throw them old ones back on. But you can't say they don't work. I mean, we sold them, and they won the next pull they went out, they won a Grand National. So, I mean, maybe it just wasn't for us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's and it's your chassis and how you're set up. Everything changes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I was down at Louisville when they first few trucks had them Nichols on, and they did quite well down there. But Chad hadn't had his new tires out yet then, I don't believe.
Right. No.
So, I mean, them guys were pulling with a physically bigger tire.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So pretty much everybody switched over to the larger tire now. There's nobody running the old smaller stuff.
Beaners,
No.
you got a set, or do you move?
I think everybody's pretty much moved up to the they're an inch and a half wider is all they are.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, it was funny because I asked Chad up at Macville if he's going to come out with a 6-ply mini rod tire in that dimension, and he said absolutely not. That's the last thing you guys need is a bigger tire.
Mm-hmm.
One question I get is what do you guys each do for a living? You want to start, or Terry? What did you do the 18 years you took off for?
Well, I started an oil company. I delivered gas and diesel to farmers and commercial accounts, and then we got into the propane, and had a couple of convenience stores, and I think it was in 2005. A large co-op came along and they wanted it worse than I did, I guess. So I sold it.
That's always a good problem when they want something. I'm on an energy board for a co-op too, and we do. Yeah, I know how that works.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. Kurt, what do you do?
Once Dad sold out, and then he went and bought a semi tractor trailer and started hauling refined fuel until 3 years ago. Then I bought Dad out from that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
wasn't in full retirement. Prior to that, I was a lineman for the last 14 years, traveling all over doing that. And this was a better opportunity to get home, closer to home, more often, and with wife and kids and whatnot. It works out
Yeah.
better.
I got a friend that's a lineman. He's down in Florida right now,
Yep.
from Wisconsin. Yeah, he's been there for a few weeks already. So yeah.
Well, that's it. With all them hurricanes and whatnot, I know the group I was used to run with, they were gone for about 4 weeks. So
Yeah.
you just take 4 weeks out of the last month and say you're gone, and that's a lot. You know, I got a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, so that's a lot to be gone for.
It is. It is. Kyle, what do you do?
So I work for a company in town here, One Up USA. We sell bicycle racks, hitch-mounted bicycle racks, and different things on that nature. And we have a machine shop there, so I manage the machine shop there. We got 11 CNCs. We run 2 shifts. There's about 12 guys in there. So I manage all of that and everything that is involved with the machine shop operation for our company.
That sounds like a good job.
Yeah,
Fun.
nice.
That'd be fun, right? It's interesting, right?
Yeah, it is. It is interesting, and there's always something new coming out, so it's always fun and interacting. So
Yeah.
Well,
And now
people always like
of you,
to see.
one of you guys, this is pretty funny. One of you guys married an old high school classmate of mine's daughter, Larry LeConte.
yep, that's my father-in-law.
You don't think
Small
the world
world.
gets small sometimes.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
But people like to hear what everybody does, other than pull. You know what? I'm always interested to see what they do or what they got going on, and that's
Yeah.
fun.
and Terry, you're a full-time truck puller now.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job because you're on top right now. I can tell. Honestly, you're one of the top trucks in the country. I would say right now, what you got going on, and that's great. Right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's just been coming together pretty good for us, so we'll take it while it lasts.
It's
Yep.
still the competition. The competition only makes you better. So everybody that we pull against, everybody's trying to be better. Everybody's trying to beat us. So we're just trying to do better. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
And then you always wonder at the end of the year, we're on top. Do we change anything? Right? Are you changing anything?
Nope, just freshening things up, and it seems to be working out pretty good. So I think we'll just let it alone.
Right.
How,
right. So,
how big is your motor?
It's a 556,
Okay.
557.
Sure. Yeah. And
well, that's cool.
you guys do all your engine work?
Yeah, my brother Wayne, he's the brains of the mechanical part or whatever. Yeah, he'll put the motors together, and the heads will take down to Adam Kester's and have him, check them out.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Adam's this exclusive supplier dealer, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, for MBR racing engines. Am I right on that?
yeah, yes, yep, yeah. Bob Miner passed away this summer, and Adam was in the process of buying him out or taking it over. So luckily, he had a few years under his belt already to, he knew what was going on or whatever. Adam does all the machining of the heads and that, builds his own heads, the intakes, and even the valve covers are billet on these motors.
Okay.
They got a billet piece of aluminum.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I did not realize that Bob Miner passed away, but Adam's firmly entrenched enough to keep the brand alive.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you guys are all running billet blocks nowadays. I mean, everybody is. The Chrysler stuff, the MBR stuff, all of it is, correct?
Yeah. Everything's billet.
Yeah.
So they're built to take it. Like I say, anything can still happen, but you start out with a good piece that helps.
Yeah.
Right. It's nice too. If you poke a hole in something, you can weld it up and get her back out again, right?
And luckily, we've never had to do any of that. So
That's good. That's a real good thing.
Valve last year, we went up to Ellsworth and pulled and dropped the valve, and the charity pull was the following weekend or whatever. So Jane and I drove down to Kester's and bought a new set of heads and came back, and by Thursday it was running again. So
Good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, you told me that story, Terry. You said them heads cost $2,500. I thought you got a heck of a deal on that.
we did at that rate.
Did you get the other ones fixed? You said you're going to get the other ones fixed, so you got a hot set of spares sitting there now.
Yes, I did. Yep, I picked them up last fall, or he brought them somewhere. Yeah, he might have brought them to Tone for me. So yeah.
Good.
So yeah, got a good spare. Hopefully, we never need to use them.
right. Yeah.
Do you go dyno your motors ever, or what do you do? Just put them out and read the computer and go?
Yeah, no, we do not dyno them. I mean, I know it's kind of hard to believe, but we actually got to tone it down a little bit sometimes, so you can hook these, tires up. That you can make too much horsepower too.
Yep.
Get them so hard, it just gets radical coming off the line, and then you'll never get hooked up.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, you guys walk them out a little bit before you lay into them.
Yep. There's a finesse to that. We don't know what it is yet, but we try.
There is. People don't watch that as close as they should, I think, sometimes, how the guy walks it out. I watched you guys in Macville a couple of years ago, and I was pulling. You guys said, hey, do this and this. You guys went and won. And you said you did this. I said, well, I did the same thing, and I ended up winning too. You told me what you did. I said, well, I'm going to do the same thing, and it worked. So I got to thank you for that one.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes it is. You got to pay attention.
Yeah. Some guys come out and throw it wide open, right? They get 2 feet off the line and they're at full chat, and they're making a lot of noise and they're spinning a lot of tires, but they're not getting any ground speed up. And with these sleds nowadays, you got to get them babies rolling early in the run. That's my feeling on them anyway.
Yep.
Yeah,
you got to get
different thought process, but I mean, you get beat by them all, different styles and everything too. So it's tough.
Each track, each sled is a different day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Brent Geek started our questions here a little bit ago to it. If I'm going to ask you first, Terry, if there's anything else other than your truck that you would want to drive and pulling, what would it be? And if you could pick anybody else's and just go drive it for that day and no worries.
Yeah.
What would it be?
Any class too. Any class, doesn't have to be a 2-wheel.
Any class. Yep.
Well, I don't know. Probably a 4-engine mod of some,
I was thinking that you were going to say that for some reason. I did.
I would like to try a diesel tractor. I've never driven one before,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a lot different than
Yep. A turbocharger is a little different, but again, if you could drive a 4-engine mod, whose would it be?
Oh boy. Well,
Who's
the dirt slingers seem to be pretty good.
Yep. Bill Eichner's. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Kyle, what would you do? What would you do?
It'd be a mod. I thought of that earlier. I know that year when NTBA come out with the Light Unlimited class, it was twin motors, and then Bowers put 3 of them on there.
Yeah.
That one would have been a fun ride in that scenario with the rules set up at that time. Just watching that go down the track was pretty impressive, I thought.
It is. I've got to stand out there and flag the mod tractors, and it's just crazy how your chest pounds when they're right next to you. It's crazy. 4 motors out there just screaming right by you 3 feet away.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's pretty. Kurt.
I'd have to go with Chuck Knapp's Unlimited, or if not that, I'd like to jump on someday. That'd be neat to jump on like a alcohol super or something like that. Just the wheel speed those things can turn. That's pretty neat.
It is fun. It's fun to watch. It's always interesting to see everybody what they would want, would want to do it. And, not that you're going to go do it, but it's just what you watch and you're a fan of who, maybe.
I mean, to be honest, I'd jump on anything dang near, but
Yeah, but you had your choice, so that'd be it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised none of you guys said a mini rod.
Haven't gotten that opportunity yet.
Okay.
wait
Yeah.
for Chad to call in sick.
Is there room in that trailer for another rig, Terry?
No,
It's full.
it's full.
We were trying to figure out how we get a golf cart in there once, and that is just not possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to be what happened to a lot of them guys these last few years as the mini rod class gained in popularity. Everybody's like, well, they get the tape measure out and oh yeah, we can fit one of them in here. Let's put one of them in too.
Yeah, I think that's why they're definitely popular. They're gaining a lot of popularity back. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think that's one of the wilder rides, a mini rod would be, right?
Oh yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah, it's just our little stuff that we run. Every time you hook to the sled, you always like, I hope this turns out okay, because you never really know until you get towards the end how it's going to finish up.
Yeah. I think that's in every class, though, Stacey. I feel the same thing. I just hope I make it down the track and don't wreck anything.
Yeah.
Every day and do the best you can, right?
And
Put on the other end, don't look like a fool.
yeah.
Right.
And one thing, Terry, you talked about running a diesel super or a diesel tractor of some type or another. You'll get a lot dirtier running one of them with all the slobber some of them put out once in a while,
Probably so, huh? Yeah. Would have to wear my earplugs though, probably.
Nope. Well, you can't. Farmers can't hear anyway, so it don't matter.
Right.
I
know I
on
can't.
anyway, so yeah, I can't either. So
Did you guys sign up for RJ's poll?
No. It's the same weekend as Macville, and I'm assuming they're
Yep.
going to have the 2-wheelers at Macville, aren't they, Greg? Or
Yep. That's the plan. As long as a bunch of guys didn't sign up for it, and we're trying. And Christy was looking at what the 2-wheel drive guys on her end of it, because it'll be another Champions Tour
okay,
event for them, I think. As long as 20 guys didn't sign up for that,
yeah.
so it's really putting a strain on that weekend for us. And I think this year it's on Macville, but it might be next year on top of the benefit pool. So I don't know.
When
and
is
I
the
want
benefit poll, Greg?
What's that?
When will the benefit poll be then?
I think it's June 8th this year.
Okay.
Yep. Our first poll will be in Sauk again on the 1st, and the 8th will be the benefit poll.
Okay.
There's 5 weekends in June this year. So when it goes to 4 weekends next year, that's really going to create a jumble. And I know the guys in Minnesota, what's the pull in Minnesota always a weekend ahead of Macville to starts with an 8th. What is it? Hutchinson, yeah. So I know them guys are struggling to get, to do something too, because a lot of the pro stock guys and the limited pro guys that they have there have signed up for it. And I know I got some phone calls from people that say, hey, I'm not signing up, that I want to make sure we're in Macville, or, I'm loyal to Badger State, not that, and it's hard, it's just a tough call. We'll talk about it at the banquet a little bit.
Yeah. With this year having five weekends, like you said, Greg, Hutchison and RJ, they flipped dates. They took care. They flipped dates. RJ's poll is going to be before Hutchison because there is a weekend off between Macville and Toma this year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And Roger up at Macville is willing to go to that weekend, but for some reason, Christy couldn't do that. There's something else going on. So
is Christy going to bring the Champions Tour big mods up to Macville?
I'm trying because they're not there.
Keep working on it.
Trying.
Keep working on it.
I'm working on it, and they want them there. So but
I don't.
Them guys only want to.
I don't think they're booked anyplace else. RJ's not having them out at his poll.
Nope, they're not booked someplace else, but they only want to pull so many times a year, and that's all part of it too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's just a lot to it. It isn't just sign what you want and they come.
Oh yeah, I mean RJ's thing. That's a new neat deal and all, but I don't know. We've been
Yeah.
going to Nashville for a long time, and we like it up there. The crowd likes it. It always treats us halfway decent or fairly decent as long as we don't goof it up. And
Right.
rather go and support that than.
It's always a nice weekend.
Yeah,
It's a relaxing weekend, I think.
Yeah, it
So,
is.
and on the other hand, now Freeport is going to do the same thing, I think, as RJ is doing. You're going to be able to sign up if you want to compete. You don't have to compete, but it's going to be like $2,200, and it's going to, if you want to sign up and pull for big money, you can do that too in Freeport. Now, I don't have all the X's and O's for that yet, but there's going to something like that is going to happen in Freeport too. Mark Holberg is working on that, so
Yeah, because
we'll get him on.
our class was going to be at Freeport this past year, but then it got rained out or whatever. And we haven't been there for, I don't know, when the last time we was at Freeport.
Right. So there's 2 nights there, and I don't know for sure all the classes yet there either, but we'll get Mark on here one of these nights, and we'll talk about it and then what his plans are, and get it
I
all
can
done.
tell
He's got it right there. Stacy's on it.
Yeah, I've been working with Mark a little bit on Freeport, and what they're looking at right now, and this is what he called you about, Greg, is on Tuesday afternoon they're going to have Badger State Pro Farm, Badger State Hot Farm, and they're going to have Champions Tour Light Super Stock and Champions Tour Pro Stock Diesel trucks, and then Tuesday night it's going to be Super Farm, Champions Tour, Badger State Pro Stock, and PPL Western Series mini rods. And Wednesday afternoon is going to be FFA farm stock pull. They got a whole bunch of farm stock classes. The FFA guys, they got together and got that going last year, and they got that's something that's really good to see. I went over to the first meeting that they had for Freeport, and it was so nice to see. I think there's 3 or 4 young FFA guys over there that are taking charge of that. And they had that poll last year for all the farm stocker stuff, and they had that poll paid for amongst themselves. They went and got sponsorships and was able to, just farmer classes and stuff. But it was all, they took care of that themselves, and the drive and enthusiasm they had for pulling, that was very refreshing to see, because you kind of wonder about it sometimes. A lot of kids don't get off their phone anymore nowadays, but that was good to see. And then Wednesday night, what are they looking at? Limited light super stock, limited pro stock, and modified tractor. He's going to do that with the ITPA is what he's going to do, a co-sanction there. So I'm sorry, guys, I do not see a 2-wheel drive truck class in there.
No.
We got a meeting here in a couple of weeks. I'll see.
Yep. Things change.
Yep.
Change. Yep. Nothing in stone yet.
Yeah, no. He's just getting the ball rolling on it very early. Mark is. He's probably one of the more proactive guys I've ever seen putting on a
Yeah, he was calling me in September already.
Yeah.
What can we do? And I said, let me get through this year first.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah. Yep. But we're good. So,
Well, we're getting up against the clock. I want to thank you guys for coming on and spending an hour with us here, and congratulate you on another championship season. A big year. 23 hooks you guys went through that, and I want to thank you personally for being such great supporters of the Badger State Tractor Pullers organization. You guys are very much an asset to the club and the strength of the Badger State. And I thank you guys very much for your steadfast support of the Badger State. And I look forward to seeing you guys at the banquet in a month.
Greg, and I want to thank you guys too. I mean, you get on some of these shows and that hour seems to take long. This hour flew by. It was interesting. Guys talked. It was good. I want to thank you for a good show. Thank you guys.
No problem.
And-
I want to thank all the promoters and all the track guys and everybody that has us. It's great to go everywhere. To pick one place to go, it's hard. They're all great. I mean, they're all unique in their own way, but yet they're all great.
They're all fun and friendly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing I have to remind everybody is get your raffle tickets in. There's only a few people left. I don't know who's on that list. If anybody's listening or watching, get your raffle tickets in. So they're all gone. They're all out. So Badger State, a lot of them are in, but we need a few more to get them in. So, and I want to thank our sponsors again, Hillsborough Equipment, Front Street Toys, Trip Downing, and Ed Casper Ag Service. So thank you guys, and thank you guys for coming on, and we'll see you next week. We have John Coots on. So
Yep. And I hope you guys get the positive invite for Louisville. That'd be awesome. You deserve it.
Yeah. I'd love to see you guys down there. That would be great.
All right.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Yep.
See
Thank you
y'all.
guys.
Thank
Yep,
you.
see you later. Bye.